Look me in the eyes and tell me you are not feeling the tension right now, because the silence coming out of Bank of America Stadium is absolutely deafening. We watched this front office go nuclear in the first wave of free agency, bringing in guys like John Mechie and Jalen Phillips, but now everything has just stopped dead in its tracks. I know what you are thinking, because I am thinking it too. Why are legends like Deebo Samuel and Darren Waller still sitting there while we do nothing? Subscribe now. We are hitting 3,000 today. Join Tribe. Let us take a deep breath and look at the battlefield, because the aggression we saw early on was something special, something we have not seen in Charlotte for a long time. They went out and grabbed John Mechie, Jalen Phillips, Devin Lloyd, Kenny Pickett, and Rasheed Walker like they were on a mission to flip this entire roster overnight. It felt like the culture was finally shifting, and we were finally becoming the hunters instead of the hunted. But now we have hit this second wave after the draft, where the compensatory pick drama is over and the real chess match begins. This is the moment where smart teams find those veteran pieces that turn a good defense into a championship unit or give a young quarterback the weapon he needs to survive. And yet here we are looking at a market that is absolutely loaded with blue-chip talent that could change our lives. I am talking about Deebo Samuel sitting right there waiting for a phone call. I am talking about Darren Waller, who could walk into our locker room tomorrow and instantly become the most dangerous threat we have had at tight end in years. It feels like we are standing at the edge of greatness, but the front office has their hands in their pockets. You have to ask yourself if they are seeing the same game we are, because the gaping holes at tight end and wide receiver are staring us right in the face. How can we ignore a guy like Deebo, who brings that dog mentality every single snap? How can we pass on Waller when we know our red zone offense needs a vertical threat that scares defenders? The talent level is there, and the names are legendary, but the silence from the front office is starting to feel like a heavy weight on all of us. Do you honestly believe we have enough on this roster right now to compete with the giants of the league? Are you comfortable going into week 1 knowing we left superstars on the table while we have the chance to strike? This rebuild is supposed to be about grit and talent, but right now it feels like we are missing the finishing touches that turn a project into a real powerhouse. But wait, because it gets even crazier when you start looking behind the curtain at what is actually happening with the money. I hate to be the one to break your heart, but the raw truth is that the piggy bank might be completely empty at this point. They do not want you to know how tight the margins really are, but look at what they just did with J.C. Horn. They had to restructure his entire contract just to find enough pennies under the couch cushions to sign our rookie class and some undrafted free agents. That tells you everything you need to know about why we are not seeing Deebo Samuel walking through those doors in a Panthers jersey. It is an absolute nightmare to think that after all those big moves, we are now basically broke and checking the prices at the discount store. It makes my blood boil, because we see the vision, but the math just is not matching for this front office right now. They spent big on the first wave, and now they are paying the price by having to pass on guys who would be massive upgrades. You look at names like Bobby Wagner or Harrison Smith or even Najee Harris, and you realize these guys would be rotational anchors for us. But we are sitting here counting cents while other teams are loading up for a deep run. It is an emotional roller coaster, because one minute we are the most aggressive team in the league, and the next minute we are acting like we cannot afford a backup long snapper. Seriously, how did we get to the point where we are restructuring our star corner just to pay the rookies? It feels like we are walking a tightrope without a net, and if one injury happens to the guys we have now, we are going to be in a world of hurt. I am losing my mind thinking about the potential of this offense with a veteran tight end like Jonnu Smith, but instead we are looking at a bank account that says 0. It is frustrating, and it is scary, because we all want to believe this is the year, but the financial reality is hitting us hard, and we need to face it together. Here is where the narrative shifts, and it gets even more complicated, because the team is trying to tell us that continuity matters more than star power. They could potentially free up some breathing room by cutting guys like Tommy Tremble or Pat Jones, which would give us nearly $9 million to play with. But the word is that they would rather keep the guys who already know the system than bring in a superstar who is getting a late start in the building. It feels like a gamble that could either be a masterstroke of coaching or a total disaster that costs us the entire season. Are we really going to sit here and tell ourselves that Tommy Tremble is a better option than Darren Waller just because he knows where to stand in the huddle? That is a dangerous game to play when you are trying to rebuild a winning culture from the ashes of last year. I want to be the insider you trust, so I have to be honest with you and say this strategy feels like they are playing it too safe. We are the Carolina Panthers, and we should be chasing greatness, not just settling for guys who know the playbook. If we want to beat the best, we have to have the best players on the field. The competition in this league is too fast and too strong to rely on system players when game changers are available for cheap. Imagine the redemption arc for this franchise if we brought in a guy like Deebo Samuel and let him destroy defenses while our young guys learn from a pro. But instead we are leaning on the familiar faces, Because the front office is scared of the learning curve. It makes me want to scream. Because we have seen this movie before where we play it safe and end up watching the playoffs from our couches. We need that spark, and we need that veteran leadership that only guys like Waller or Samuel can provide. If this goes wrong and our offense stalls out because we did not have a reliable target for our quarterback, we are going to look back at this moment as a massive missed opportunity for our whole organization. Unbelievable as it sounds, we have to face the cold, hard reality that maybe the rest of the league knows something we do not. Think about it for a second, because there is a reason all 32 general managers have let these players sit on the open market for this long. It is a hard pill to swallow, but maybe the version of Darren Waller we see in our heads is not the same version that shows up on the game film these days. Maybe Deebo Samuel has some issues that the scouts are terrified of, and that is why nobody is pulling the trigger. I am sharing a theory with you that only a true fan who stays up all night watching tape would understand. Could it be that our front office is actually being smarter than all of us by not chasing these names? It is a wild thought, but when you see a guy like David Onyemata or Mekhi Becton still looking for a home, you have to wonder what the red flags are. Seriously, I am conflicted, because my heart wants the big names, but my brain is telling me to trust the process. We are in a fast-paced analysis mode right now where every move is under a microscope, and the pressure is higher than it has ever been. We are building a tribe here in Carolina, and that means we have to look at the ugly truths too. If these guys were truly the missing pieces to a championship puzzle, why are they still available in the middle of May? It is a psychological game of chicken between the players and the teams, and right now the Panthers are refusing to blink. I am honestly torn down the middle because I want the fireworks, but I also want a team that is sustainable for the long haul. We cannot keep living in this cycle of signing big names and then having no money for the future. But at the same time, we are starving for a winner, and it feels like we are just one or two pieces away from being a real problem for the rest of the league. We need to stay strong and keep our eyes on the prize. So here is the bottom line for everyone in the room right now. We are standing at a crossroads in this reconstruction, and the path we choose will define the next 5 years of Panthers football. We saw the explosion of moves early on, and it gave us hope that things were finally different. But now we are seeing the calculated and almost painful discipline of a front office that is refusing to overspend on aging stars. Is this the blueprint for a dynasty, or is it a recipe for another year of mediocrity? I want to see your fire in the comments right now, because this is where the real fans speak up. Do you think we are being smart by keeping our current guys and saving every cent for the rookies, or are we being let down by a front office that is too scared to make a splash? I want you to flood the comment section with your names and where you are representing the blue and black from, because we are building something special here. We are chasing that 3,000 subscriber goal, and we cannot get there without every single one of you. This is our team, and this is our community, and we are going to ride together through the highs and the lows. I need to know if you believe this is our year to shock the world, or if you are worried that we are missing the boat by letting Deebo and Waller pass us by. Don't hold anything back, because I want the raw emotion and the real talk that only this tribe can provide. We are the ones who stay up late, and we are the ones who never lose faith no matter how many times they break our hearts. This is about pride, and this is about the future of Carolina football. Make your voice heard and let the world know that we are still here, and we are still loud. Keep pounding and stay tuned.